Hi, everyone. Welcome to our today's Wednesday webinar. We're joined today with Ashley Reyes, and she will be taking us through her webinar, Birds and Bats and More, for the fun Halloween season. So, Ashley, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Yes, my name is Ashley Reyes. I am going to share my screen with you really quickly. My name is Ashley Reyes. I am from San Antonio, Texas, and I currently teach in Northeast Independent School District. I teach kinder through fifth grade, and we are a Title I and dual language school. So that's just a little bit about myself. Today we're going to cover all the bases. This is about the Halloween season, so all of these are going to be geared towards Halloween. And we're going to do some singing, some movement. A lot of these will involve classroom instruments, of course, and then props, because why not? Tis the season to be using props like fans and scarves and things like that. So, why did I call it Birds and Bats and More? So Birds and Bats is one of my favorite activities actually on Musicplay. So underneath on my presentation, right underneath the title, you're gonna see kind of the way to get there for all of these. So if you go to units, they have one that says festivals and holidays. So if you click on that, you click on Halloween, and then it gives you a bunch of different options. So actually we'll show you how to get there as well. So if you're on Musicplay on the left-hand side, click on that units. You'll go to festivals and holidays, scroll down, see Halloween right there. And then here's where you have them separated, all based on songs and activities, things like that. So the first one, like I said, is Birds and Bats. So if you go to spooky animal songs and Birds and Bats, it'll pop up right there. Now, in my class, I use this with third grade. So in my presentation, in that top left-hand corner, you're gonna see a grade level or multiple grade levels. Those are the ones that I do with my students, but of course, it's whatever is best for your class. But I'll also tell you where you can find it as well. So for Musicplay, they list this under second grade songs. Birds and Bats right there. This is a great song for 6-8. If you're talking about minor, if you just want them to experience minor music in minor. We also have, this is seasonal music, of course, so we want to put some of that in there for them. This is a great opportunity for some improvised movements, as well as possibly playing a chord bordun as well. So I do want to play the song for you once, and I do have my audio connected, so it should work. But under videos, I usually use the one that says lyrics. The notation's more for me. If I'm unfamiliar with the song, I'll use that notation for myself to learn the song, but lyrics is the one that I'll show the kids. So if I press play, this is Birds and Bats.
Birds and bats fly through the sky, through the sky, through the sky. Birds and bats fly through the sky on this October night. The geese in the parade go clickety-clank, clickety-clank, clickety-clank. The geese in the bay go clickety-clank on this October night.
And there is one more verse to that, but I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. So let me go back to my presentation. So like I said, there's a lot of opportunity for different improvised movement in this song, which I love. So let me scoot this over. On the presentation, the first one, like it says, birds and bats fly through the sky. In the second verse, the treats in the bag go clickety clank. And then in the third verse, it says the silly old skeleton rattles his bones. So all great opportunities there. For myself, like I said, the first thing I'll do is I'll play that lyric video and they'll start to get it in their ears. And then I will teach it by rote. And then I'll add those props and those fun sound effects. So for the birds and bats flying through the sky, I have quite a few of these veil fans. You can get them on a lot of different elementary music and music sites where you can buy things. Some of them I've also bought on Amazon. They're usually about $20 to $25, but these are great for that flying through the sky. So I'll give maybe 4 students one of these and they'll just walk around the room as they sing birds and bats fly through the sky, which they love. So these veil fans are definitely worth the investment in my opinion. And then for the treats in the bag that go clickety clank, I'll use, something that clicks. So I actually have one of these mounted castanets, but if you've got regular ones or any sort of wood block or something like that, that can be your clickety clank that they can play along with. And then the silly old skeleton rattles his bones. I've used the vibraslap for that. I've used claves for that. Anything wood sounding, right, for rattle his bones. Or if you don't have anything, then you can just act it out, right? Body movements, things like that. Fly through the sky, physically, move around in a flying motion. Clickety clank, I've done snaps for if I didn't have instruments for that. For the rattle his bones, I've just had the kids kind of shake their bones like that. So all of these are definitely possible with and without those props. So after I teach the song and after we add those different props and things that we can do movement with, we'll practice that a couple of times, and then I'll actually add usually metallophones and glockenspiels. I like that metal ring that sounds very spooky and haunting, so I will use usually metallophones and glockenspiels. And if you're using A and E and you play on the downbeat, it really gives that haunting sound. So I do have one here with me at the moment, and I think you're able to hear it. So for example, if I use the A and the E, it'll sound like this. And then I'll have the kids sing, birds and bats fly through the sky, through the sky, through the sky. Birds and bats fly through the sky on this October night. So they'll use that A and the E, and it just really fills the room with that spooky feeling. And then after we've all had a chance to sing and play on the instruments, then I'll actually split the class in half. So half of the class will have the veil fans and the different instruments for the sound effects, and then the other half will be on the instruments. So I'm sorry, on the barred instruments. That way they can both be performing at the same time, but then we'll have an opportunity to switch. So that's a great one. I absolutely love that activity. My class loves that one. If you wanted to keep going with this, I usually stop about there and then I start to go on to the next activity, but if you wanted to keep going, maybe you wanted more work on those barred instruments, maybe you wanted an opportunity to improvise in minor, which we don't always get to do that often. What I would suggest is using that song, that verse, as your kind of A section. And then in the B section, we can use that A minor as an opportunity to improv. So after they sing the whole thing on this October night, then whoever's at those glockenspiels or metallophones can actually have an opportunity to kind of improvise within those parameters. So that is a great something that I'm thinking about for this year, that now that we're in October and I'm going to start these again, that I haven't done yet, but just another fun extension to keep it going with that song. So underneath those videos that say notation, lyrics, there's also a demo of students performing it. Underneath it, there's a lot of other resources. If you haven't checked those out, definitely check those out. If you click on the one that says ORF, it'll actually pull up an ORF arrangement that's fully fledged out. So that's what you see on the right there. That's the ORF arrangement. And then if you go to where it says song activities, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but if you go to where it says song activities, it gives you a lot of different ways that you can present this to the students. So for example, it said, you could pair this cross-curricular, you could pair it with Stella Luna, and there you have a book to go with it. Or if you want to do a short presentation on bats, you can tie it to science and talk about bats. So lots of different ways, just to keep extending this activity. A favorite, an oldie but a goodie. This is the little old lady who is not afraid of anything. I use this with my kinder through third graders, and depending on the grade level, we will use props and instruments, or maybe we'll just do some body percussion, which I will explain. So how to get there, you go units, holidays, same thing, Halloween, and then there's an area at the bottom that says storybook lessons. So there is a full reading of this book with a play along by Miss Jackson. So these are the instruments that she uses for the shoes, the pants, the shirt, the gloves, the hat, and the pumpkin head. So the great thing about this being on video is if you have these instruments, you can just pair them up and then you can have the students play along to the video, which is awesome. I take this as an opportunity to use the instruments that I don't usually get to use. So I will use some that are a little more different and I'll actually read in person. I do have the book here. So I usually will be here with one hand and then here with the other hand trying to tell them what instrument they should be doing next, but I do have the book as well. So some of those instruments that we don't get to use, the slapstick, castanets I use pretty often just because I have quite a few of them, but castanets, a vibra-slap, maybe even a thunder tube if you're feeling wild. So it's totally up to you. But here's an example of what I would do. So the two shoes that go clomp, clomp, those castanets, a pair of pants that goes wiggle, wiggle, shake that thunder tube, one shirt that goes shake, shake, maybe you have a kabasa or some maracas, two gloves that go clap, clap, you can use that slapstick, one hat that goes nod, nod, I've used the vibra slap there, and a scary pumpkin head that goes boo, boo. So for that one, usually a large drum, it just feels right. So that's usually how I pair it if I'm using instruments. That's usually going to be, second, third graders. But sometimes we don't have access to the instruments. Maybe there's a time constraint. We have 7 different schedules that we could possibly operate on at my school. So the class could be anywhere from 50 minutes to 30 minutes. It just kind of depends on the day. So if you've got time constraints or a location change, I don't know about you, but I become the coach often. If you don't have time to go over that instrument etiquette, we're at the point of the year where every time we go to instruments, I'm reviewing the instrument etiquette, how we get there, what we do. If I don't have time for that right now, then I might just stick with this body percussion as opposed to the instruments. Or behavior concerns, you know your kids best. So if any of that is true to you, then you might want to do this without instruments. So how would we do that? Same thing, I would have my book right here with one hand, and then I would do the movements with my other hand. So for the 2 shoes, I'd have them all go stomp, stomp. For the pair of pants, they just shake, wiggle, wiggle. For one shirt, wiggle, wiggle. Then we go shake, shake with our hands. The 2 gloves would go clap, clap. The hat, we'd grab our brim of the hat, we'd go nod, nod. And the scary pumpkin head, we'd go boo, boo. So all of that just as effective, and they love it just as much. Yeah, also, if you have the physical props, you could do this full out. At my campus, our librarian does it full out with all the props, so that's her domain, and I'll do it with instruments. But if you have them, definitely to each their own. And then this little visual that I'm showing you is a downloadable slide underneath the little old lady who is not afraid of anything. So if you go below it, it's a downloadable, so you can see this exact visual. Okay, so in the Hall of the Mountain King, this activity isn't on Musicplay, but it pairs really well with another one that will come in about 2 slides. So I will start with this one. So when I start with this one, I will start by sharing this story. I'll be honest, I don't know if there's an official story. I bet there is to this song, but this is the story that was told to me by one of my mentors. And so it's just kind of that like folk song. It's just kind of passing along. So in my story, there's a little boy. He's a very naughty little boy, and he steals something and he gets caught. So he does not want to get in trouble, so he runs away to the forest. And in the forest, there's a mountain. He starts running up the mountain, and he sees that there's a door in the side of the mountain, which that's odd, a door in the side of a mountain. So he goes through the door, and it's very dark, and he can't see anybody, but they see him, whoever lives in that mountain. So we find out there are trolls that live in the mountain, and there is a mountain king. The mountain king captures the boy and places him in troll jail. That's their favorite part. And while in troll jail, the guard falls asleep. And so when he falls asleep, the little boy manages to steal that key. And so he unlocks the troll jail, and he's trying not to get caught. So he starts to tiptoe. He starts to tiptoe out of the mountain, and as he's exiting, the trolls see him, and they start to tell everybody, hey, there's somebody leaving. But The boy doesn't notice, and when he does start to notice, he starts to walk faster and faster and faster and faster because he doesn't want to get caught. And eventually he's jumping through doorways, and he's jumping through the final doorway until the very end of the song. So that's how I introduce the song. And I do that with kinder and first grade. Whoa, we skipped quite a lot of slides. Hold on one second. That was my bad. Let's see, where are we? There we go. So there's two ways that I take this after I tell the story. The first way is a follow the leader style activity where I have a little light that I got off of Amazon where you touch it and it illuminates. So what I'll do is I'll touch the light and it illuminates and it kind of looks like a flame. So I'll turn all the lights down in my room and then I'll start to walk around the room with that light so it feels like we're really taking a trek, and they'll follow me behind me in a line and we'll just kind of snake around the room. And of course, we'll start slow with a bum, 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 and I'll stop every once in a while to make sure they're being quiet. And then by the end, we all kind of stop in our spot and we're just doing quick feet wherever we are, and jumping through those doorways, But the other way that I've done, which I did it this way because of COVID actually, but they still love it, so I still do it this way, is I have every kid seated on the floor and they'll have their legs extended out in front of them and they will just follow along and copy me, and I will tap the beat on different parts of my body and they will copy. So I'll start with my heads, bum 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 bum, my head. I'll start with my head, bum 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 bum, da 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 da. Then I'll go to my shoulders, dun 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 dun. Then I'll go to my waist, dun 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 dun. Then my knees, and then my toes, and and by the end I'm mixing it up just to make them laugh with the dun 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 dun. We get into a little conga, if you will, and we just have fun with it. So that's a great one. But of course, that's a perfect example of an activity where they're experiencing different tempos, right? Changing from that slow to the quicker tempos. So this is a great pair for their activity. They have an activity called Tap It Here, Tap It There. This is a great pairing for that if you're really focusing on experiencing that tempo with the little ones. So this one, the song goes, tap it here, tap it there, toss it way up in the air, tap it here, tap it there, pass it to a friend. And for me, this is a beanbag activity. I have a beanbag here, so I can show you. This is found under grade 2 songs. You can also find it under the concept tempo. But like I said, this is a beanbag activity for my kiddos. And I mostly do it with first grade, but I've also done it with kinder as well. And so what I'll do is I will show them how the song works first. So I'll take my beanbag and I'll tap my knees, tap it here, tap it there. Then I'll toss it way up in the air. We tap our knees again, tap it here, tap it there. And then we pass it to the right, pass it to a friend, just like that. So I'll show them first. And then I will say, okay, you have an invisible beanbag. You can't have a real one until I see that you can do it with your invisible one. So with their invisible beanbag, they grab it and they tap it here, tap it there, toss it way up in the air, tap it here, tap it there, pass it to a friend, just like that. So after they've done it with their invisible beanbags, of course, we review expectations in my room. If it touches the ceiling, it's game over. That's just my rule. Sometimes I use different bouncy balls or beanbags, things like that. I don't want to deal with sprinklers and breaking speakers, anything like that. So in my room, if it touches the ceiling, it's game over. So I go over the rules, and then I'll have them circle up. And once we're all sitting in a circle, crisscross, I'll have the bucket of beanbags in front of me, and what I'll do is I'll sing, pass it to a friend, and I'll pass it to my neighbor, and then I'll say, all right, you're gonna pass it just like me, here we go, and I pass the next beanbag, pass it to a friend, as they pass it to the next person, and we just keep this pattern going so that they can get that correct direction right off the bat. So they know, okay, we're passing it this way because that's the only way we've been passing it this whole time. So once everybody has a beanbag, then very slowly we'll practice it for real with that beanbag. Tap it here, tap it there, and we'll do the whole song really slow, and then of course we'll get a little bit faster as they feel more confident, and then we'll get to do it with the little lyric video like I showed you for the other song. So with the lyric video, I don't know if you saw on that page, it says moderato. It will actually say, I think there's 4 different tempos that it plays. So it will say on there, largo, tap it here, or whatever it may be. So that's a great one, again, for experiencing tempo. If you want to label it, you can definitely do that. For my class, it's more about the experience with this one. So this is a super fun one. They absolutely love this one. Anything with beanbags, they're a big fan of. I put on there that this could also be an individual activity. We've also done it where I didn't have time for us to make the circle and to practice the passing, everything like that. So they're just tapping it on themselves, toss it way up in the air, tap it here, tap it there, and then pass it to a friend. They just fake pass it to somebody in front of them. So even if it's just practice for the activity, they've done it individually and they still like it because they still get to tap it and toss it in the air, which is their favorite part. Okay, so the Smelly Brew Rondo. This is an interactive activity. So if you've ever used the interactive activities, these are ones that if you have some sort of touch screen, the kids can go up and touch it. Or if you're screencasting, they can touch whatever you have there, or they can click on it. If you have a mouse, like a little USB mouse, you can have them click that if it's attached to your computer. But this one's really fun. So the A line, A section, if you will, is black and blue, full of goo. What will we put in the smelly brew? And then here they get to make their choices. So I have this board behind me. This is a type of touch screen board. So I'll have them go up one at a time, 4 for the first line, 4 for the second line, and they'll pick their favorite one, whichever one they want. Frogs, and then muddy boots, beets, 2 spiders, and then we'll practice that line. Frogs, muddy boots, beets, 2 spiders. Frogs, muddy boots, beets, 2 spiders. And I usually like to do it twice. That way, in case they didn't get it the first time, they have a chance to do it a second time. And then we'll do the second one, and then we perform it together. So we can just say it if we want to, or if you wanted to add rhythm sticks, or if you wanted to add a hand drum, they can play those, of course, frogs, muddy boots, beets, 2 spiders. And then if you want to challenge them, you can say, okay, the words are in your head, but we're not going to say them out loud. I want you to play them. Just another way to keep it going. So this is a really funny one, Smelly Brew, because there's gross things in there, dog hair and hairy eyeballs, which they love that stuff. So this is a good one for them. I do this with 2nd and 3rd grade. This one's very similar, but I use this with the younger students, so like 1st grade, but it's the same thing. This one has witch, black cat, pumpkin, and ghost. So ghost, pumpkin, black cat, witch, or pumpkin, 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 which for some reason happens every year. It's just all pumpkins for 8 beats, but if that works for them, that works for me. And like I said, words, or you can tap it in the palm of your hand. We use our rhythm hands, 5 and 2, so we'll do it here. Or some easy, simple percussion instruments that are easily movable, so you can bring them in, bring them out quickly. Alrighty, so this is actually a read aloud book, Where's My Mummy? It's also under Halloween. Way at the bottom it says storybook lessons. So this for me is a great cool down activity. So let's say we just did the Hall of the Mountain King, and their adrenaline's up here because the music was just bum 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 bum. So this is my to calm them down, the Where's My Mummy read aloud. And there's some fun sounds that the different creatures make, like cluck 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 and things like that. So if the kids want to make those noises along for some vocal exploration, I'm totally fine with that. This in a dark wood, this is another interactive activity that the kids can go up and touch. So it has this poem, in a dark wood there was a dark house, and it just keeps going all the way to ghost. What I normally will do is I'll put them in order. So I'll start with the pianissimo and go all the way down, and then we'll visualize it, and we'll discuss, okay, what does this one mean? Super quiet. What does this one mean? medium, quiet, medium quiet, So we'll talk about it first, and then I'll clear it and I'll let them make the order that they want. So usually it goes something like very loud, very quiet, medium loud, medium quiet, and it goes back and forth, and then we will read it just like that, the way that they've chosen, and then we'll clear it and let them do it again a different way. I have seen this done with some drums where they are playing softly, but I haven't been able to try that myself. But it's the same thing, just like gently tapping versus full-on hands. So this is another great one too. And actually on the next page, you'll see that they have a printable version. A lot of these have worksheets that can go with them. So this is an example of the worksheet that could go with in a dark room, and it's a printable. So if you wanted to add it to a sub plan or something like that, then that's definitely an option. October is here. So this one is under Halloween. It's under seasonal songs. It's also listed under Kinder. I use this with my second graders. We actually used it just today, and we'll use it all this week. But the song itself, I'll just sing it for you. The song itself goes, "Hey there, kids, October is here. Spooky things are far and near. Skeletons will come to say, hope you have a scary day. Black cats show us what you do. Count to 8 and you'll be through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you just want to sing this song as, a seasonal song that the kids will learn, that's perfect right there, right? I like to use this as a mixer. So what I'll do is I will have the kids come in and I'll have them immediately pair up with somebody. So they're going to be in pairs. They'll sing this wherever they are to their pair. Wherever they are with their pair in the room, they'll sing it out loud. Hey there, kids, October is here. When it gets to the counting 1 through 8, I'll have them do this like patty cake motion. So they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then they'll wave to their partner and they'll go find somebody else. So they have all the way until where it says black cats show us what you do. By that point, they need to have a partner. Otherwise, they need to raise their hand so we can find them a partner. Now, in this song, it's mostly the same for every verse, except for where it says black cats. It'll change what that animal or person is. So black cats will change, and then the very last one actually is just a blank. So before you get started with this song, you can ask them, okay, we have one that we get to choose. What do you want the scary thing or person or being to be? And we've had aliens this week. We've had zombies. They wanted skeletons again, so we did skeletons again. But we will fill it in. Zombies, show us what you do. Count to 8 and you'll be through. 1, and they go back to their patty cake. So that's a great mixer. It just gets them moving, and it seems like a lot of time, but they really are scrambling to find somebody. So it's the perfect amount of time for them to be moving around. So this is another great one, and that's where you'll find it. Same thing under those festivals and holidays and Halloween. All right, pass the broom. So this is a favorite. I have it as 4th and 5th grade. This is something that I introduce in 4th grade, but they are asking for it until they leave for 5th grade and they leave for middle school. So they love this game. This one's going to be under Halloween. It's under Witch Songs. And the song itself goes like this. Pass the broom around the circle, don't you let it drop. I don't want to have the broomstick when the music stops. So that's the song itself. The way that I introduce this is I'll say, will you just keep the steady beat with me? And they'll pat on their legs and I'll sing for them. Pass the broom around the circle, the whole song for them. And then I'll say, all right, this time keep it in your hands. And I'll sing again, pass the broom around the circle. And then the next time I'll say, okay, this time we're gonna keep it in our snaps. If you know it, sing it with me. Pass the broom around the circle. And it's super catchy. They'll know it by hands, really. So then we'll go snaps. Now keep it in your feet. Pass the broom around the circle. Then when I say walk it around, that just means they're kind of roaming, wandering my room. So pass the broom around the circle, don't you let it drop. Then I'll say, you have 16 to circle up, go. And they need to make their circle, and I'll just count to 16. So they're making that circle. And then we're in the perfect formation for the game. So the game itself, here we go. The game itself is a hot potato style game. So what we'll do is actually have it here. I have this little ball that I got from a store. I think it was $5, something like that, but it was too cute for me to pass up. So this is our pass the broom. I made a little mini broom, and the broom did not make it. So we use this one. It's a lot more durable, and it's more fun for them to toss around. So I welcome the tossing, as long as it doesn't touch the ceiling or it's not thrown too hard across the room, then we're fine, and we usually are okay. So we will start by passing this one at a time, try and keep that steady beat as it goes around the circle, and we'll sing the song with it. Pass the broom around the circle, don't you let it drop, right? And then like hot potato, if you have it on the word stops, then you would be out. So it goes all the way around. I don't wanna have the broomstick when the music stops. If they have it, then they're out. And usually we're standing for this game, so I'll just have them sit down when it comes to that part. As the game continues, generally we tend to speed up. Usually that's out of necessity, because I'm saving this for the last 7 minutes of class, because it goes so quickly, and my class sizes are not super big this year, so we will speed it up because I'm running out of time and I need them to go faster, which they don't mind because it amps them up and it gets their adrenaline going. So the tempo does tend to speed up. And then in my room, I have a rule that if the teacher plays, then the winner gets a prize, which they love. I have a bucket of stuff that I've just collected over the years. Maybe people have given me things, or maybe things I've possibly gotten like at the Dollar Tree. So it has little squishies, erasers, pencils, things like that. So if the teacher plays, winner gets a prize, which they love. Especially right now that I have a student teacher, that gives the possibility of, top 2. Since 2 teachers played, then maybe 2 people get a prize. So yes, they love that for sure. Like I said, I do this with 4th grade, but they will ask for it through 5th grade. They'll ask for it all the way through May. And I don't mind bringing it back out. I know that there are different versions. I'm pretty sure on Musicplay there are different versions that are not minor. They have a different subject matter, and they're in major. So you can play essentially the same game, but a different season, different topic. So that's a great, definitely explore that on Musicplay. This is only a handful of times that we experience minor, so it's just a great game. I love that they love it throughout the year because they're keeping, the idea, the concept of minor in their brain the whole year. So some more possibilities, if you wanted to look at this with your 1st and your 2nd graders, you definitely could. I'm gonna show you Pass the Broom right here. So it has that lyric video, like I said, or notation if you want to see it. There's a demo of how to play a version of the game. And then if you scroll down right here where it says Beat and Rhythm Interactives, it has that little video game icon. If you click on that, it'll lead you here. And this just has a bunch of opportunities to keep extending this with, especially with the younger grade levels. So you have this one that has the opportunity to point to the beat while you're singing the song. This one's interactive. Clap the rhythm. This one's got brooms that match the rhythm. We're talking about that beat versus rhythm, of course. This one you can actually decide, okay, pass the 2, and you click on that 2 and it fills it in. Broom, how many? 2, fill it in. Round the 2, fill it in. Circle 2, and then you can always clear it with that little trash can at the top. Let's see, and here you can create your own pattern. So if you're using broomstick or drop, you can have them go up to the board and create their own pattern. Broomstick, 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 drop. Broomstick, drop, broomstick, drop, or however they would like to do that part. Yeah, so rhythm sorting, it has a ton of different ways that you can keep going with this one. Let me go back to here. Right here, there we go. Another activity, I've never done this before, but I've thought about it, and that is anytime we use the bean bags, I always think about going outside just because we have a field, and so I think, bean bags are super fun. I know they like to toss them in the air, and in here they're not allowed to toss it super high, but if we're outside and there's nothing for a lot of space, then they have the opportunity to really give it a good toss. So if I'm ever focusing on steady beat, what I like to do for even the young, from little to big, is I'll have them keep that bean bag and pass it back and forth, and I'll have them say tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, just so they feel that beat and they have to wait for that gravity to bring that beanbag down. So I'll have them feel that steady beat first, and then what they can do is they can each have a beanbag. If you don't want to pass around one thing, they can each have their own. They can pass the broom around the circle, don't you let it drop, and just keep going. I don't want to have the broomstick when the music stops. And on stop, what they could do is they could actually toss it and then see, as hard as they could, and see if they could catch it. If we're outdoors, they have that freedom. So that's why I've been thinking about maybe on a Friday taking them out there I have some different bean bags. Mine are made of cloth, so I don't know that I would take these outside, but our our coach has bean bags that are plastic. So I might take those outside just because they won't, the dirt won't cling to them, the grass won't cling to them. So just another thing that I've been thinking about that I wanted to share with you guys as well. Yeah, so that's about it for me. I hope you got one or two things that you can use for sure. I'm still, adding to these and trying to extend these even more with the instruments, with those props. Like I said, I love those veil fans. If you don't have a veil fan, those classic scarves, the little square ones that are usually neon, those are perfect for the same thing. If you're ever doing anything with like ghosts, for example, we do the danza macabra, we use those little scarves as our ghosts. Same thing with, you can use the veil fans, you can use ribbons. So, just really making it your own and making it super fun. But that's all I have for you. There's my contact information. If you have a question or anything, you're welcome to email me. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, Ashley. That was making me very excited for Halloween. Excellent. We do have a couple of questions here. One of them is, do you have any like brief ideas to accommodate students who maybe don't do Halloween? Is there ways you might do some of these different, or does that not really factor in at your school often?
I mean, a simple lyric change doesn't hurt anybody, especially a lot of these. Can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
A lot of these have for example, the birds and bats. Let me get out of here. Close. They have that accompaniment track, and so that doesn't have any words on it. It just has the music. So if you wanted to change some lyrics, minor is in my standards that I need to teach my students. So there's nothing wrong with a little minor and then changing those lyrics, like pass the broom. It just says broom. It doesn't say anything specific, or I've heard it, and I think I've done it as pass the pumpkin too. It's just a pumpkin, so that usually can fly. I know I have some students that have brought that to me before, so I'll decide that year, okay, maybe not this one, maybe this one. So yeah, I would say definitely those accompaniment tracks might be for you, so that you can make those edits, and the kids will never know.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I do have one other question here. Could you outline the activities with a grade level, either after the webinar or if you have a document or something like that? I think someone was looking to see sort of the resources that you used in your slides, just by grade level, maybe a quick list, if you have that available.
Yeah, so just like listing, like these are the things I spoke about for kinder. These are the things like that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. I on the slides themselves, that's what that little in the corner, that's what the grade level was. So yeah, I can just list those out. Easy. Sure.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm not seeing any other questions at the moment, unless anyone wants to take this 2 seconds to write something in the chat. What that means is you explained everything fantastically well, which is great.
Sweet.
Um, yeah, looks like we don't have any other questions, so that is all good. Well, in that case, we will close it down for today. Thank you so much, Ashley, for your webinar today. It was fantastic. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's always lovely to see everybody who comes out to these webinars. Have a great night, everyone.